Hey there, I'm Shyfoxx, and today we'll be drawing cute Gengar. So our sketch will be a chibi version of Gengar in a cute style rather than the original Pokemon style. So we're going to get started with drawing a circle. And do a nice big circle. I recommend going around a few times, slightly, because circles are, a challenge a lot of the time. So if we just go around a few times, gets a little easier, and then even sketch where exactly we want our circle to be afterwards. So now we have a decently round, accurately drawn circle. And we need to draw a center line curving around the middle. So it's kind of rounded. If you can imagine, this would be like the middle of a sphere cut vertically. And we're going to do the same thing through the middle horizontally, so slightly rounded. This shape will be Gengar's body. We're going to start off by drawing the eye. So we're going to draw, you can think of like a triangle. As for positioning where this is going to go, it's not going to go in the middle of this quadrant, but it is going to go kind of close in on this corner here, but not touching. We want to give a little room. This eye shape is a bit of a triangular shape, but rounded edges. So to show you what I mean, we'll have a long side there, short side here, and a long side here. Now we're going to draw this but rounded. I'll make it fairly sizable. When it comes to sort of the cute art style, it's definitely best to have larger eyes. Also, don't draw the eye too high up, so it should be pretty close. I did end up kind of drawing it close on this axis here, which is fine. And we're going to draw the lines inside for the iris. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I know I was describing this as a triangle, but make sure you don't make this too pointed or he's going to look a little angry. So that top really should be more rounded. If he's looking angry, bring down that top peak so it's not angry looking. Okay, now we want a nice sizable highlight. Outline that highlight and also put the pupil inside, and the highlight's going to be in front of it, so we're only drawing a little bit of a round pupil as if it's behind the highlight. And we're going to shade in the iris area, going from darker to lighter. Let's add a little line here. It's a small thing, but kind of gives it a sense of almost like an eyelid. Okay, we're going to draw the eye on the other side. This one's going to be winking. So find yourself sort of the middle between this axis and the end of the circle here. So it's like the middle of this quadrant. And we're gonna go similar height to where this eye is on the axis, but we're gonna go up a little bit. So the shape we're making is also a bit triangular, but it's a wink. It's a wink. So just sort of an upward curve and rounded here so that we can make it look like he's winking. And just lightly shade that in for now. Maybe only lightly to start with, because with sketching, it's nice to be able to change our minds. So if you're like, oops, that's not quite where I wanted to put it, then go ahead and move it. And speaking of which, if something isn't quite where you want it, you can pause the video and fix it up, or if I seem to be going too fast, then definitely just pause and catch up, and then restart when you're ready again. Okay, so we're gonna do the ears. I mean, I don't know if these are really ears or not, but they kind of look like ears. So this rounded shape. Now, real Gengar in the original Pokemon style is very spiky and pointed. We are doing this in rounded triangle shapes. That's kind of the theme today. Rounded triangle shapes, because there's lots of that. So one on either side. I'm gonna make this one even slightly bigger, angling pretty, you know, steeply upwards, not too far out to the sides. It's kind of looking like a cat. This isn't a cat, but it'll make sense soon. So, and these are good, nice and wide. Don't make them too narrow. So if you need to make them wider, do that. I'm starting to think to make this wider. A good tip, by the way, is not to draw too dark. I think even I'm drawing a little bit too dark right now. Draw lightly first, and then go back in when you want to commit to certain lines being there. And then we're going to add in these little peaks on the top of his head. They're, again, little rounded triangles. So small one, big one, and I'm angling this one sort of back in that direction, not just straight upwards. Back that way. And then we have a little one and another little one, and these can sort of angle differently if we like. So sort of like a medium small, this one, big, small, small. It's kind of what we're gonna do there. Now we're gonna draw a little line coming down the side of his head on that side, and we're gonna do the same thing here. And we're gonna imagine there's his thigh on that side and a thigh on this side. So you can rough in really lightly some circles. And to draw the rest of his body, we're gonna lightly go around the shape like that. So you can see we have circle, circle, and W shape following our circles. Good. Now we're gonna also sketch in the positioning of his arms. Let's do oval shapes. Bigger than that. That's a better size. So you can sort of do size checks based on look at your sketch and take a look at my sketch, and perhaps you'll say, oh, I see that I've done the arm way smaller. I should increase the size. So that's why it's really important to lightly sketch in what we're planning to do. It's kind of like planning to put the arm here. And we want to do fingers. So I'm liking the position of these. So I'm going to go ahead and put in fingers sort of rounded, 1, 2, 3 little bumps. Same on this side. 1, 2, 3. Nice and easy. And I'm going to kind of commit to this. So I'm going to darken here and darken here. And I'm actually going to pull out the eraser, darken around there, and leave little gaps where the arms connect to the body. So I feel that that connection area is here. So end that arm about there, leave this space open, and erase some of the guidelines that I no longer feel I need. And I'm also going to erase sort of here. I think that's what we should do. That looks good. Okay, let's add in the feet. We're gonna have a foot here. So again, guideline circle. That looks good. And we'll draw the other one and decide, are they even? Another foot here. Even in terms of size? Oh, maybe not. This one looks bigger than this one. I like the bigger size, so let's make this bigger. And even in terms of height, we don't want like one foot way up here and like one lower. So looking for those kinds of things before you commit. So I'm gonna erase inside, and I am going to draw some darker lines to make the shape of the feet show. what in my mind I think of as committing. So 1, 2, 3 little triangles on top of his feet. Same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3. How do those look? Pretty good. I'm gonna roughen this shape, or I guess darken this shape in a little better. That's looking pretty good. Okay, we're getting much closer to done here. We need a mouth, and we kind of also want to add the rest of his body. So all that is we have a tail, and he has some spikes on his back that we'll be able to see. So let's do the spikes. Little triangle here. Notice the shape that I'm doing. I'm calling it a triangle. Rounded triangle shape there, because there's like 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. That's why it's a triangle to me. And then 1, 2, and then we already have this, so 3. So there, and then Gengar has a little tail, so let's do that coming out like that. And that we're angling down. Long side, short side. And we'll have this connect but end here, so I'm going to go in and I actually want a little eraser gap right here. Eraser gap. And now seems like a good time to actually go in and erase, right before we do the mouth, erase our guidelines that we no longer need. It really helps to have decent quality paper. I am drawing on art paper. You can use like printer paper, but the problem can be with using some lower quality paper is you run into trouble when it comes to erasing. You find that your lines don't erase or the paper gets wrecked. That's probably the most likely bit. The paper gets wrecked. And it can be also really advantageous to have good drawing tools. I mean, everyone's tried erasing with a bad eraser before, right? And the smudges, what a nightmare. So I would test your tools. I know I'm saying this at this point, but I'm also just teaching some general sketching information. So, you know, when you're gonna do a new sketch, make sure that your eraser works properly before you need to use it and you decide that, oh, this eraser is like really marking up my drawing. So there, test your eraser. I did. I tested my eraser, and I'm using a decent pencil too. It's much easier to, draw when you've got decent materials. So I'm using a 6B art pencil. Great. Now we just need his mouth. You know what? I kind of erased that center line, and I'm thinking, oops, I probably shouldn't have done that. I can still faintly see it. I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put it back because we kind of need it. All right. So from that middle axis there, we're going to use that to draw the top of the mouth. So I'm going to go just below it. It's kind of where his little pinkies, if you can imagine, those would be his like pinkies. His little pinkies, not touching his pinkies, but just beside. And then we're going to do a little line coming down part way, curving, and a little line part way there, just curving as if we would draw a whole big smile. But because we're going to draw his tongue sticking out, we're going to leave room. So to now leave room, let's do a little line here and here, and we're going to connect those. So not all the way down to the ends of those lines. We're just kind of planning this in, and we'll connect these two. Curved at the same thickness of the line above. We're going to add little teeth lines. Those look good. And now we're going to add the tongue. So the tongue is a interesting shape, so we're going to make it fairly big. To make room for the tongue, we're going to start here, draw a little curve that way, and on the other side start here and draw a little curve that way. So you see how we've curved that. Now we're going to have this tongue go lightly sketch, tongue go around, and back. And I'm gonna go over it a few times till it's the shape that I kind of want. I think I would like the tongue come out further on this side and come back a little more suddenly on my left side. Okay. Which I guess is your left too. Should be. Alright. Do I like this tongue shape? I think so. I'm going to erase the overlapped area here. I guess I kind of drew that in dark. Don't really need it. So that's okay. And I'm going to also erase our guideline that I kind of put back in the middle. Get rid of it. Alright, we also need a little line from the middle of the teeth down the tongue like this so that we can, you know, have that tongue line that we always see. Okay, from here we are going to thicken the border. I think of it as like a border. You know how like a sticker has a border? I guess it's kind of like that. Just really makes our sketch pop. That's kind of the point here. So we're going to make our sketch pop. Go all the way around. There might be important lines inside Gengar that you think could be needing some thickening. I'm thinking the tongue is an important one. Kind of thicken that. You know what? We can add some thickness to the limbs. I guess at this point we're kind of thickening everything, but especially having a thick border is going to really make this pop out. I would only go about adding a border, you know, once you've decided you really like the positioning of everything, the sizing of everything. And let me put this to you as well. If your drawing is like, I don't really like this Gengar, I think I could do much better, or this doesn't look as good as I want it to, draw this more than once. If you draw this more than once, you will improve. Or what you'll find is that they all look kind of different, and you'll pick one you like the most. Now I am going to darken the eye shadow here. I guess the shadow of the eye is kind of what I mean. Just darken it a bit. And we are pretty well done. I am just going to add a shadow around. This is an optional step. If you feel like you want your Gengar to have a shadow, and if you'd like to share what you drew today, then you can use the hashtag or you can tag me on Instagram. I make more draw-alongs on my channel, so be sure to check those out. And feel free to leave a comment as to what other characters you'd like me to do a draw-along video for. I would also really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. It would help me make more videos such as this one. I hope you guys have a really awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.